Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making beef jerky in that. This is a fantastic way to make excellent beef jerky if your oven has a dehydrate feature. No dehydrate feature on that? Well, you probably got a small appliance in your kitchen someplace that does. And if you do, this recipe will work just fine in that, albeit you just won't be able to make as much at one time. So you ready? Let's get into this. For this recipe, we're going to need some beef top round, sliced thin like this, some monk fruit sweetener, you can use a little bit of sugar if you want to, or some allulose. Our herb combination consisting of paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of lemon juice, and the main ingredient other than the beef, soy sauce. If you'd like to make this recipe, all the ingredients and measurements are down in the description of the video, along with the calorie count, the protein, the carbs, and the fat. The first thing we want to do is deal with this beef. You can see that I have this sliced into big pieces like this. You can leave it like this, or you can slice it into smaller pieces. I think I'm going to cut all these in half lengthwise. Let's see if I can just do this all at once here. When you're slicing through your meat, originally be sure to cut perpendicular through the grain, otherwise it's going to end up really chewy. This part doesn't really matter because we've already sliced it the way we want it. Okay. Next, we need to take a large mixing bowl. That's a 4-quart, should be plenty. And we're going to mix all of our wet ingredients first. So we got our soy sauce, the lemon juice, and the Worcestershire. Probably not pronouncing that right because I have a hard time saying Worcestershire. Then we can throw in our herb combination and our monk fruit sweetener. Next, we want to whisk this together really good to get this combined. You get that mixed up as good as possible because otherwise you're going to have spots on your beef jerky that got more seasoning than others. That's not really preferable. Once you got that done, you can start laying in your beef. I wouldn't just throw it all in there at once. I just kind of lay it in kind of different. That way you don't get as many in here that are kind of stuck together the long ways like that, because then you're not going to get any seasoning really on either one of them. As you're doing this, you can stir this around once in a while just to make sure everything's getting coated. And then we continue on, and be sure to stir these up really good. You want to keep stirring this around until you don't see any spots on any of your beef that look like it's unseasoned. Those parts aren't going to be very good. You really need all this stuff to flavor them, otherwise you're going to get some really bland beef jerky, or at least parts of your beef jerky will be bland and you probably won't be super happy with that. Okay, once you got that mixed around a little bit, we're going to let this marinate. So you can do this two different ways. You can either leave it right here in this bowl and cover it and put it in your refrigerator, or you can stick it into like a Ziploc bag or something like that. I think it's fine like this. I'd be perfectly happy like this, and it's just a lot easier not to have to put it into another container. But if you're going to leave it in here, just be sure to push this down enough to make sure that the level of liquid is getting up high enough to where you're going to be able to saturate all these really good, right? Should look a little like that when you get done. Okay, now we're just going to throw on our lid, and we're going to put this in our refrigerator and let it marinate for at least 2 or 3 hours. The longer you let it marinate, the better it's going to be, so if you can let it sit overnight in your refrigerator, that's going to be your best option. Personally, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be right back. This is one of my dogs, Moo, and every time I come out here to record, she follows right behind me and won't leave until I leave. Because she's a good puppy, right? Say hi. Say hi. No? Okay. Okay, I let my beef marinate overnight, so this should be really good. Woo. Look at that. If you're using an oven like me, this next part can get a little bit messy. Since I'm using the dehydrate function on my oven, then all of this beef jerky is going to go straight onto these racks. If you're going to be using these racks, remember your pieces of meat have to be big enough so they're not going to fall through the slats. A better option is, instead of using just the bare racks like this, if your oven has an option for it, get an air fry rack. For my Frigidaire oven, this is an add-on, but some of them come with these. Anyway, just looking at it, you can tell this is going to be a much better solution for our beef jerky. Keep in mind that when we do this, you could end up with a mess because all of the drippings are going to come down off of the air fry tray and are going to come right down onto the bottom of your oven. So the best way to alleviate that is take one of your other shelves, set that into the bottom just like this, and I'm going to take a full sheet pan lined with some parchment paper and slide that right here. The air fry tray will be in the middle someplace. You don't want anything in between that and your pan down here, and it should pick up all of those drippings. Okay, let's get this ready. I'm gonna put down some additional parchment paper right here on my cutting board, since we're trying not to make a mess. Put the air fry tray right on top of that, and we're gonna lay out our beef strips, being real careful not to overlap them. We need to make sure they have a little bit of space to breathe, because remember, we're dehydrating them. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. If you don't have enough room to fit them all on here, don't worry about it, it's fine. You can always use a second air fry tray, just make less, or do 2 different batches. Okay, now we're gonna slide this in here, just like so. And I'm gonna live on the wild side a little bit, so I'm just gonna put a second tray in here, just with these hanging off the edges like I was mentioning before. If you're gonna do that, make sure that everything is over the top of your parchment paper though, otherwise you're gonna have a massive, disgusting mess. In fact, it'll help if you angle these a little bit too. Okay, we'll slide that in, close this up, and I'm gonna set my oven to dehydrate. The process for doing this is different on different ovens, but I'll just show you how we do it on the Frigidaire. First I select an oven, then you go to oven modes, then we go to slow cook, and then one of the options in slow cook is dehydrate. So we go there, ignore that. It's already set to 135 degrees, we'll leave that alone just like that. And then we're set to go. Dehydrating is going to take a really long time, and it just depends on how dry you like your beef jerky. I'm probably going to leave this in for about 9 hours or so, but I'm going to be checking it periodically, and I'll let you know when it's done exactly how long it's sat in here.
1 week later.
Okay, our jerky's been dehydrating for 12 hours. Let's take a peek in here and see how it looks. Oh, full disclosure, I already checked in there and it's done. Because there's no way in hell I was going to sit in here for 12 hours waiting for this. And obviously I'm not putting on all my stuff and setting up my cameras just to look in here and see that it isn't done. Okay, that looks good. Let's check this out. That's the way I like my jerky, just like that. And the stuff on the bottom tray, you can see the difference in it because it wasn't sitting on this flat surface. So you end up with some pieces that are shaped a little bit funny, but honestly, that's not really a big deal. Let's get this out of here and plate it up. Hey, Joe's Phenomenal now has channel memberships. For most people, you can see a join button down below the video window that you can click and see what type of perks I'm offering. If you're using an iOS device, you might not be able to see it, and if that's the case, I do have a link down in the description of the video as well. Beef jerky is a really great snack. And for those people trying to stay away from too many carbohydrates, it's a good choice. If you're buying the basic mass-produced stuff that you get out of the supermarket, you're paying probably close to $1.50 an ounce. That means a 1-pound bag is going to cost you about $20. If you buy one of those niche specialty brands, you could pay even more. For this recipe, I made 2 pounds of beef jerky and it only cost me about 20 bucks. Granted, I had the herbs and the soy sauce and everything already, but still, that's a lot of dough. Not to mention, it tastes unbelievably good and there's not a whole bunch of chemicals in it either. If you'd like a little bit more information about the Frigidaire Wall Oven back here that I used to make this recipe, I do have an Amazon affiliate link to it down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, I do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay, 1 cent. If you like this video, I bet you might like this video right here where I showed you how to make some barbecue ribs in a pressure cooker. Those came out delicious, and the best part was it only took about 2 hours. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you back again here really soon, and until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.